Hello and very welcome to United to Heal again. Today we travel up north. We travel up to Finland because I have a very beautiful guest here. This is Camilla Holmström from Finland, and she is a homeopath. She's an homeopathic teacher and she is the owner of Wellness Lab. And I really adore that I could talk to you today and hear your view from up north down to us here in Germany. Hello, welcome, Camilla.
Hello, and thank you so much, Mathias, and thank you for inviting me. And it's a really big honor to be here. And I'm so glad also to be in contact with German people, because I follow quite a lot what happens in German. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to homeopathy and what's going on right now. So yes, you're close to my heart.
Oh, thank you so much. Camilla,
Yes.
I have a question. My first question is how did you come to homeopathy?
Well, I was traveling actually in India when I was young. I was about 21, and I was quite sick, as we Westerns tend to get sick. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of looking for myself. I was studying then cultural studies, and I was traveling in India almost half a year. And I tried different kinds of alternative therapies, also homeopathy, which I didn't know exactly what it was at that time. Anyway, during that journey, I realized that I was to become some kind of healer professional, and that was like really strongly. So when I came home, I was like looking what to study, which therapy, and I ran into this book, this one.
Oh wow! Yeah.
This was a book lying on the table of a reflexologist I knew in Stockholm, one friend of mine. I got this book, and I was looking at it and I was like, wow, this is a repertory of all kinds of symptoms, of different remedies and different medicines. And the symptoms were so neatly registered, and they were all covering from mind to emotions, all from your body. And this really lightened up my interest, and I started to study homeopathy, and that was like love at the first sight. It really was like my thing. So I was quite young then. Now 27 years later, I don't regret my decision. That it's been a long interesting journey of continuous learning and also self-development and also helping people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you practice a certain way of homeopathy right now, or classical, or how do you call it?
Well, classical, I practice now actually what I call Hahnemannian homeopathy. Mm-hmm. So in schools we were taught classical homeopathy, which is among homeopaths known more maybe as Kentian homeopathy, where we put a big emphasis on mind symptoms and emotional symptoms. So I've done all kinds of my own researches and my own experiments, like which kind of method fits me the best. And I'm now like back to the roots with actually, my main tool is called Polarity Analysis, and this has been developed by the Swiss doctor Heine Frey. And this is actually the original kind of homeopathy, which Hahnemann used also. So we actually check for facts very carefully for the facts, and we use certain kind of information which we find reliable. But of course, as a homeopath, we're always considering the holistic the holistic picture of the person, of our client, of our patient. So we take into consideration everything. But I would say like this Hahnemannian style is what I'm really now have been putting a lot of emphasis on, and I also do my best to teach this to the students of homeopathy. Most of us, we have different layers of what we can call illness. You know, we might have chronic illness, we might have like several different complaints, we might have something acute on the surface, and we usually always have some kind of stress triggering this. So in polarity analysis, we are very, you know, strict with what are actually, you know, the changes in your state from health to a state of dis-ease. I call it dis-ease, not disease, you know. So we are checking very carefully for facts. And this is like modalities, what makes it better or worse, what has changed from when you were, you know, well to when you became ill. So we try not to put too much projection on, you know, what to treat. If we think about like emotional and mental, and we try to check really the facts, and then when we have the facts carefully investigated, we also look at the whole picture so that the remedy that we give also will fit, you know, the emotional side.
What are the main topics you treat these days?
Well, of course, if we think about chronic complaints, lots and lots of stress, exhaustion, sleeplessness.
Even in Finland?
Yeah, so that's like, you know, and combined with, for women, usually a lot of hormonal problems, thyroid problems. And this usually comes with the exhaustion and the sleeplessness and so on. So I would think maybe this is, if you look at chronic complaints, maybe one of the biggest areas. And also men have sleeplessness and stress problems. And then of course we have all kinds of digestive things, you know, stomach don't work, allergies, bloating, all these kind of things, which makes life really suck. You know, you have a, you know, if you all the time feel swollen, you can't eat, that's really, you know, really common. And I would say third is, you know, of course, yeah, okay, depression is really common. But this also, I see, this is always combined with, for example, sleeplessness or something else, stress from a long time. And then, of course, we have a lot of acute situation, pains, inflammations, all kind of things, and different kind of pains, you know, from maybe, you know, back aches, sciatic pains, nerve pains, a lot of pains and complaints, which kind of are chronic. Or people might come for acute, but usually it's chronic. But there are also a lot of acute situations, inflammations, influenzas, flus, all this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Was Corona a theme in your country?
Yes, a strong, very strong theme.
Yeah.
And yes, it was it was a theme, but, you know, according to my opinion, we did have a lot of people suffering from corona-like symptoms, you know, the typical weakness, loss of taste, loss of smell, all this. And this is a bit sensitive subject because I'm not actually allowed to talk about this.
Okay, you are not you are not allowed to treat it, right?
No, I mean, what we treat in homeopathy, we don't treat diseases as such. We always treat, you know, Lebenskraft, the vital force. So we have a international community of homeopaths, and we have been educated all the time during the spring by our teacher Jeremy Sher, which is a, you know, homeopathic expert in epidemics.
Yeah, he was in our he spoke several times here. Yeah.
So thanks to him, who organized all of this, you know, homeopathic corona information, we got very good advice how to treat.
Exactly.
And we had, you know, very nice results. But of course, I'm not allowed to write or say this. Actually, I was writing last spring about, you know, advice, homeopathic advice, but it ended up with it being censored. And so that's the situation. Right.
I really now want to come to, because this whole thing creates fear. The people are afraid. People are afraid either to get the virus or they're afraid of the strict government and so on. So there's a lot of, how is it in Finland similar that there's so much?
Exactly similar.
Okay.
You know, the fear clouds your intellect.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is such a strong power that you actually, you know, you lose yourself. You lose your ability to think, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like an intelligent person starts to mistrust his or her own intelligence, you know, because you have facts and it's easy to put them together. 2 + 2 is 4, but suddenly 2 + 2 is 5, and you believe in this. So fear is you know, always a place where you grow. So I think all of this, you know, because we don't see maybe the big picture, this is a big help, a big step in our evolution as humanity. Because we need, obviously we have created this and we need this trigger, this fear to grow. And to go inside and ask ourselves, what do I fear here? Do I fear death? Do I fear to be alone? Do I fear to get cut out from my, you know, maybe my community where you work? So I will be like an outsider if I raise my voice. Do I fear to lose my job? Like, do I fear poverty, lack? What do I fear? You know, this is very important because for me, you know, I've been 27 years now doing homeopathy. So I think when we do choices that make us sick, you know, when we live and work and talk and think against what's actually good for us, we all have our individual truth. You know, we all have a path we want to walk. But when we lose that path, when we lose the connection to our higher will because of fear, then this will not work in the long run. But at some point we have to stop and ask, what is this fear? What's my fear? And to meet it. And this is where we grow. It's only here where we grow. And this is a fantastic opportunity to look at it, let it, you know, raise itself and let it be healed.
So,
and I think this fear of death is, you know, very, very human fear, actually. So this is normal.
it takes courage.
Absolutely. It
Turn
takes
around
courage.
and face that what is always, was always trying to get you.
But we are supposed to be brave. You know, we come here, we live this life. We are supposed to be, you know, happy, to live from our heart, to live in love, to make love, to make connections, you know, to be actually, to feel joy of the gift of being here in this form. So you know, when we are stopped by being feared, we know we have to be brave to really confront that and let it come and look at it. Because usually when you look at things really honestly, you're brave, the fear will dissolve. You know, the clouds will dissolve, you know, the light will come out. But if you push it aside all the time, you cannot heal it. So here I think, you know, it's very good to, if it's really strong and you can't, you know, you just can't deal with it, go for help, somebody to help, a professional, friends. Just try to look at it, try to feel it, not to be, we have to be brave also. That's our, you know, to be brave, to connect with our heart. That's what it is to be a human being, to be brave and vulnerable. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I think it takes a really courage to let go blaming and criticizing and just start facing what is really there. And mainly it is very often it is driven by fear, right? So it takes some quest that you really take this the honesty to yourself, and that you really say, okay, yeah, I'm driven by fear. Especially I feel when I start, people sometimes start going into arguing, and then but then to know what is driving you actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I have confronted that also. People think, nuts many times.
Mm-hmm.
Why I talk about things, but I think as long as we, for me, it's very clear because I have, being a homeopath for so many years, I have looked at things, seen things. I also have an academic education actually in
Mm-hmm.
educational sciences. My specialty was critical pedagogics.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it's very natural for me to always, in a way, question, like, where does that truth come from? Who says that? Don't believe in things. Just you have to make your own decisions. You have to decide where you stand in life.
Mm-hmm.
Because only then will you feel good, believe me. Only then. And then you will feel very strong and learn to be calm. Whatever happened, if you are attacked, it's not really your problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to respond.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Somebody can try to make things difficult for me. So I just, my way is like, I have like, I look for this Zen button, I press it, and that's like I do as little as I can.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm triggered from outside. I do only what I have to do according to law, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and try to really keep on to my own heart and to be close with those people who appreciate me and support me. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
To connect to the love all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is also a major point, right? That you feel more loving and more free, and yeah, more happy with yourself.
Absolutely, that's where it comes from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's all about, if you really feel love for yourself, you really feel that, you feel love for other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to go out and harm other people when you love yourself. You just simply don't have that urge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can see everything that's happened now. It's actually because of there has not been the sensation of feeling of self-love, in a lot of people on this earth. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually maybe not their fault. That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to connect, I think, as much as possible to the feeling of love, like in our daily life. That's an act from there. And allow, of course, we have lousy days, we have lousy times, but always try to get back there. Mm-hmm. Wherever you can find love in your life. Maybe you have someone at home who loves you, or maybe you have a dog that loves you, or maybe you have a good friend. You find it somewhere and connect to that. Mm-hmm. That feeling, really feeling, not thinking, but feeling. Mm-hmm. Then usually things will, evolve better.
Yeah, and you make much better decisions, right? So when you get into this love space, your decisions are they are more right, and they create other circumstances which are also more loving, mainly.
Absolutely. And you maybe don't make decisions that are, basing in your like ego to try to protect myself or defend myself. It's not always the best way to act. Sometimes you have to defend yourself, but if you do it all the time, too much energy will go.
Is there a love remedy?
Well, I think the love remedy is, in the air we breathe, on the earth we walk, everywhere.
I think the more we come in contact with our love, our self-love, also it has a certain effect on our health, right?
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
What is the paradigm in healing and medicine in your eyes?
In my healing and medicine, of course, it is the paradigm is that we have a dis-ease, maybe symptoms, maybe feelings that are visible and that can be felt, that can be seen. But what is behind that? That is like a disturbance on a higher level, what we call in homeopathy Lebenskraft, or we can call it prana or ki. So there is like an immaterial part of us, which actually creates all this. So we can all feel things. We can feel our energies around, or we can feel when somebody is in very aggressive mood, we don't want to go close. We can feel how good it is to be with somebody who is happy and love. We feel all this. So we feel and act through our energetic field and through our like immaterial fields. So that's the paradigm of healing, is that you want to go and help that inner disturbance. So you always go and look for the answer, the solution on a higher level compared to where the disturbance expresses itself. You always go to a higher level.
Okay, how do you do that?
Well, we use homeopathic remedy. Of course, I'm a homeopath, so I use homeopathic remedies that act on that level. But I use all the facts, the signs, the sensations, the symptoms to find the remedy. But what the remedy does, it goes and it gives a stimulation to the vital force to correct itself. So I think we need to start to talk more openly about the fact that we are, energetic beings. If you think that how many actually believe they are only this bone and this flesh, how many of us believe that there are no spirit, there are nothing else? I don't think that very many really believes that. Do you?
Do you mean that nobody believes that they have no spirit, or that they have a spirit?
Or that they don't have anything else than a physical body, which is like automatically a victim to, for example, bacteria and viruses and everything from the outside. It's like a passive victim. There's nothing inside that governs it. That would mean that we cannot influence anything in our body with our mind or our emotions.
Yeah, that is what the so-called modern medicine just wants to tell us all the time. Here in Germany, they say they don't want this Heilpraktiker and homeopath, and I mean there's some politicians, they really are on this, but most of the people know that they are a spirit or have a spirit, or they call it God. I mean, it doesn't matter which name you give it, no?
Yeah, I like to talk about God. I think it's a wonderful concept, but it's also a personal concept. And I mean, people use things like intelligence, source, energy, universe. That's okay. For me, this is very close and personal thing. For me, it is God, and this is actually the ultimate nature of what we are. But of course we're expressions of this. We are all flames or sparks of this original source, and this is all we need to know. We don't need to understand everything. I think also we always tend to try to understand. We just need to, in a way, find this certain connection, this connection of love and peace and acceptance with what we are. And this is very subjective, individual feeling. We have to look within and go for that. But of course, the paradigm of the medicine, of the official medicine, is very limited. And I don't see how that can work in the long run, because if it would work, would we be so sick as we are? Would we? After all these decennies of biochemical medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we should be quite well by now.
Yeah, should be all erased. We should not have any chronic disease anymore.
Yeah, unless you look at the health of our children, you know, it's going worse and worse. So of course we need this traditional, we need both medicines, but the, you know, the main paradigm, you know, we should open up this, that we need a medical system that approves that we are spiritual beings. So we need to connect to what we are within the medicine and connect everything. And when we treat someone, we need to be aware, okay, we treat now on biochemical level. This is the level we treat on. This is maybe the level that's just right now the best one. You know, I might need it sometimes, or you might need it. But then we have to read, if this doesn't work, or if there would be a better way which would work, you know, go to a higher level, treat it there, you will get better result, you know, better result, maybe homeopathy, acupuncture, maybe, you know, counseling. You know, there are so many things you can do. Yeah, for not to mention nutrition, but anyway. So to be aware of where are you, you know, putting your treatment, which level.
Is that what you call body, mind, soul medicine?
Yeah, yes. It's an integrative system where you actually, first you have to, you know, like define what you are treating, what can be treated and which way. And then you have to approve of the human being as a spiritual being with layers of different kind of layers. You have a biochemical layer, you have maybe a nervous system, you know, you have a, you know, emotional layer, and so on, so and so. And this is, you know, where everything comes in together, you know, energetic treatment, healing, homeopathy. You have nano medicine, which is coming strongly. You integrate everything. And you will have miraculous results, really.
That is, I remember Kurt Tepperwein, I don't know if you know him. He's a German, very old, wise man, and he speaks in our summit also. And he also says, you never need to fear if something goes, another thing comes. Life has no open invoices, he says. So if you lose something, on the other hand, something else will come, so you can trust. So that is something we really need to learn, right?
That's very, very beautifully said. And I feel like this, that when you are connected to your own truth, what you are doing and talking and saying, what you really believe in, what really feels, this is me, I'm like this, then you have no fear.
Exactly.
You don't have fear because you feel so in harmony, you know, with yourself, you with God. You know, you will have the right people attracted to you when you walk your truth and talk your truth. So you will feel always that you have, you know, your own soulmates around you. You know, and this is again because we have this vibrating universe, so everything works through vibrations. Yeah. So the doors will open up even if doors are closed. Sometimes you need to close a few doors because it's very, you know, we have to be careful, like with our choices and who we meet and what we say do. So sometimes we have to close some doors. No, there's no need to be fearful about that. And if there are fears, again, that's where we develop ourselves. We don't develop when we have easy times.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
And
I would also encourage, you know, everybody, like I always, if I feel I'm stuck or have, you know, I look for help. I'm lucky. I have such a network, fantastic healers, colleagues, everybody. So I just go and look for help if I have difficult times. So it should be easy to ask for help. And
I think we should dare to say that we don't know sometimes, and we should dare to let help happen to us. Yeah, so that we invite people and do some trauma work or whatever if we feel something is sitting on our shoulders or on our mind. It was an amazing interview. I really adore this time we spent together. Thank you so much, Camilla.
Thank you.